the lesson you're going to see is a mini lesson. It's a writing mini lesson, and it's a mini lesson on author's craft. Many authors use sentence fragments to enhance their writing, to have a certain effect on the reader. And what we want our writers, our student writers, to notice is that sentence fragments are not necessarily a wrong technique to use in writing if they are purposeful. They do have a place and they do have an effect on their reader. So through reading a story with the eyes of a writer and looking at how a writer used sentence fragments to have certain effects on their reader, and then to have the students create a theory about when they would use sentence fragments in their writing, and then go back to something that they've written and try out a sentence fragment, all really cements that type of a craft from an author and a craft in writing. Good morning. We are going to be using our writer's notebooks today and doing a little mini lesson that will help you to become a better writer. But first, what I would like you to do is I would like you to think, just think about a time when you felt left out. Think about a time when you felt like you were not a part of a group or not doing something well. Right? I will give you an example, my own personal example. When I was a young college student, I came home in the summer and my sister and I went to play tennis. And we were having a really great time. We were playing tennis and, you know, back and forth on the courts, and my sister's a pretty good tennis player, and I just do it for fun. So we were finished with a match and we walked over to the water fountain to get a drink, and there was this old man who was sitting on this bench watching us the whole time we were playing. And he, while we were getting a drink of water, he walked up to us and he said to my sister, "You look really good out there." And then he turned to me and he said, "You shouldn't even be on the courts." I was like, whoa. I felt so bad about that. I mean, that really hurt my feelings. So what I would like you to do now is I would like you to think of a time when you felt left out. When you felt left out of a group, when maybe somebody wouldn't talk to you or somebody moved away. Just take a moment right now and think about it. Okay, now what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to turn to a person that's sitting next to you and I'd like you to share your story. All right, did everybody have a chance to share their story? Okay, here's what I'd like you to do now. Go to the writing section of your writer's notebook and find the next clean page. And for 3 minutes, I would like you to write about the story that you just told the person sitting next to you. Ready? Start. All right, who would like to share? One thing I want you to know is that when you do these like free writes, you're not going to finish anything. The odds of you finishing this is rare. These are just ideas to get you started writing, and they're also ideas that you might want to go back to at a later time and develop into a longer writing piece. All right, who else would like to share? All right, let's go over here. Jacob? Okay, thank you. Jacob, Casey, Lexi, thank you very much for sharing. But right now what I'm going to ask all of you to do is I'm going to ask you to read a story. It's the title of it is A Letter from the Fringe. Have any of you read this before? A Letter from the Fringe? Okay. 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 Well, I'm going to ask you to read it. Oh yeah, I know. That's because, you know, I shared this story with a lot of your teachers, so some of the times they may have used it in the classroom as well. But if you did read it, then you can just kind of skim over it to just kind of remember. Those of you who are reading it for the first time, what I would like you to do is I'd like you to read, and I'd like you to make notes in the margin wherever you have a connection. You say, oh, this reminds me of, then put a little note in the margin, or put a note in the margin wherever you may have a question, okay? Then look up here at me. The first thing that we do after we read something is we talk about what it says. What does the text say? So can I have somebody tell me what is this story about? What does the text say, like the big picture? One thing I want you to notice though is how the author says it. We're going to take a look at her craft. And when I read through this story, one of the things that I noticed about this particular kind of writing is that this author uses lots and lots of sentence fragments. Do you guys know what a sentence fragment is? James? It is. It's a piece from a sentence. What makes a complete sentence a complete sentence? You know, when your teachers tell you, I want you to write in complete sentences, what does that mean in your head? Emily?
You need subject, predicate.
That's all that's all you really need. All you really need to have a complete sentence is a subject and a predicate, right? Jacob? Okay, and you need to write it correctly. Thank you. All right, so a sentence fragment would be missing what? Oh, Lauren has another thing to add. Go ahead. Oh, and words, and we need words. Emily? Okay, okay. So a sentence fragment would be missing what? Sure, either a subject or predicate or both, missing both. How many of you have been told, you know, never to write in sentence fragments? All right, we are here today to get rid of that myth that you cannot write in sentence fragments. Because here's what happens. You may think that you cannot write in sentence fragments. However, the more you read, and the more you read good authors, the more you are going to start noticing that they write in sentence fragments. So what we're going to look at today is what effect did those sentence fragments have on you as a reader? And I'm going to show you exactly what I mean. Take this first page, the first page of the story, and I want you to highlight it's the third paragraph, and it is the first two sentences. Saw his eyes get that hard glint they always get right before he says something mean. Highlight that. You don't want that. There you go. Okay, saw his eyes get that hard glint they always get right before he says something mean. And then highlight the next sentence. Watched him walk toward us, squeezing his hands into fists, getting psyched for the match. Okay. Now I want you to just put your markers down for a minute, and I want you to give me your attention, and I am going to read you a little bit before that. I'm going to read you the sentence fragments, and I want you to pay attention to what effect this is having on you as a listener, all right? What effect is this having on you as a listener? What effect is it having on you as a reader? Okay. Okay. I saw Doug Booker before she did. Saw his eyes get that hard glint they always get right before he says something mean. Watched him walk toward us, squeezing his hands into fists, getting psyched for the match. Okay. How did you feel as a listener or a reader when you heard those fragments? All right, so here's what I want you to do. I would like this group right here, okay, from Lexi all the way down to Casey. I want you, you four, to look at page 2 and highlight all the fragments you can find. This group, okay, from James to Emily, I would like you to look at page 3 and highlight all the fragments that you can find. I would like you to, Michaela, okay, to look at page 4 and highlight all of the fragments that you can find. All right, Sydney, Michaela. And then page 5, I would like James all the way to Julie to look at page, let's see, 1, 2, 3, no, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 6, I would like you two and you two to look at page 6, okay? Mitchell, all right? Noel, Murphy, Corey, you 4 will just look at page 6. All right, go ahead. And you can work with partners and highlight all the fragments that you find. I'll give you a couple of minutes and then we'll talk about them. I'm going to ask you to give me 1 or 2 sentence fragments from each of your pages, all right? And then I'm going to ask you to tell me what effect it had on you as a reader. So I'm going to give you 2 minutes to talk with your group and decide which sentence fragments you're going to share. So all 4 of you can talk and 4 of you can talk. And Sydney.
Ladies, get with the guys over here.
Okay, and Michaela.
Fine,
and
compare yours.
Got Mitchell and Corey, move over there by
you guys can
Murphy and Noel, and you 3 talk and pick out 1 or 2 fragments you're going to present to the rest of us. All right, finish up your conversations and then we're going to share. All right? So put your pencils, put your markers down, and this group, let's go with the first group. All right, you were page 2. Share with us what fragment did you guys select and what did you talk about was the effect that it had on you as a reader? Oh, do you have a question before they go? Yeah, they're going to go first. Okay, who's your spokesperson? Lexi, all right. Yeah, but I'd like you to stand up. Could you stand up and maybe come over here so that we can all hear you? Nice voice. Good. All right, what sentence fragment did your group select?
We have taken each one apart like I'm defusing a bomb and no response.
Okay. All right. And tell us what effect did that have on you as your group, as readers? Pardon? All right, well, let's talk about that right now, all right? No. Stay right here, dear, all right? Come here. I want to see where you highlighted it. All right, I'd like everybody to have their paper on page 2. And it's the 3rd paragraph, and the fragment was taking each one apart like I'm defusing a bomb. Go ahead and just read the first sentence and then that one to the group. And I want you to think about what effect it has on you as a reader. Go ahead.
Okay. I tried fighting back the words like my mom and dad had taught me, taking each one apart like I'm defusing a bomb.
All right. Taking each one apart like I'm defusing a bomb. What effect did that have on you guys? Yeah, you can highlight it. Jacob? Brought a nice visual to your head, the author did. All right, what about this one? Read them the next one. The next one goes a little bit further down. It is right after I didn't know what to say. Go ahead and read that and think about what you're feeling.
You want me to start there?
Start, I didn't know what to say. Yes.
I didn't know what to say. I blustered out, "They're total creeps, Sally." No response.
Okay, the fragment is no response. What effect did the author want to have on you with that fragment? Okay, so bring out some emotion. All right, thanks, you did a nice job. All right, this group, James, are you the spokesperson? All right, come on up. Tell us, share with us, a fragment or two and tell us what effect it had on you as readers.
We did a bad posture, flitting eye contact, and mumbles a lot. They're just like little words that are just kind of placed about.
Okay, what I'd like you to do is, could you read it from but most important?
Okay.
Okay.
Well, most important, said Ed Limper, plunking his lunch tray down. Is you can't see the victim. I don't seem like a victim, Sally insisted. She did though. Bad posture, flitting eye contact, and mumbles a lot.
Okay, bad posture, flitting eye contact, mumbles a lot. What did your group decide was the effect the author wanted to have on you?
Like what Sally is, what she really is. Like she thinks she's not really a victim, but she's like basically a perfect victim. So it's not.
Okay.
She's insecure.
All right, and I want you to, yeah, and you're right, and I want you guys to think of this. As you listened to that and as you read it, did the author control your reading? Did the author control how you were reading this, Lexi?
Yeah, because you had to stop every time in the sentence.
Okay, so the author made you what? Okay, so the effect the author wanted to have on you as a reader too, besides that, was to make you stop, make you think about each one. So make it sound important. All right, thank you, James. All right, you two. Sydney, Michaela, who's going to be the spokesperson? All right, Michaela, come on up. All right, we are now on page 4, right?
Yes.
Okay, we're now on page 4. And go ahead and tell us, what was the sentence fragment?
Our sentence, you want me to read the sentence before?
Yes.
Okay. I look at the in-crowd table that's filling up. The beautiful Parker Cravens, Brent Favreau, the unusual suspects.
Okay, so the sentence fragment is, just read the fragment now.
The beautiful Parker Cravens, Brent Favreau, the unusual suspects.
All right. What effect did the author want to have on you? What did you and Sydney decide?
Well, we kind of had to go back and read it over again because it didn't make sense at first because it left out the word "are."
Okay.
Like we would usually write it,
So what did the author want? What effect? The writers, first of all, writers are very deliberate about this, guys. They do this for a certain effect. What effect do you think the author wanted?
to possibly try persuade you into thinking that this is what the people look like, possibly.
Okay.
I wanted to give a deep description.
Okay. Did the author control your reading in any way?
Kind of.
How?
Because we had to reread it because the way we would usually report it, it didn't make sense to us.
Okay. We are going to create a theory. We're going to create a theory about why writers use fragments, sentence fragments. And Mrs. Goranak is going to help us do it. So we're going to start like this. We're going to say, as a writer, I would use sentence fragments to, and then put an ellipsis. And now, let's hear from you. As a writer, I would use sentence fragments to Yes, visual. Bring pictures to the reader's mind. Anything else that you would use sentence fragments for? To dramatize. Yep. All right, great. Now, here's what I want you to do. This is your theory. I want you to go back to the thing that you just wrote at the beginning of class, you know, where you wrote about a time when you felt left out. And let me just demonstrate something to you with this. Hannah, I'm going to just use your writer's notebook. Okay, remember what I told you about before, okay? In your writing, when you write in the writing section, remember I told you that you don't write on this side of the paper, you just write on this side of the paper? What I want you to do now is you are going to find a place in your writing where you can add some sentence fragments. At least one sentence fragment, you can add a couple sentence fragments. When you do that, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to write the fragments out here on this side of the paper and draw an arrow to where they would fit in. This side of the paper is what we use for revisions. And here's another important point. If you cannot find a place that you can insert sentence fragments, I want you to create a new lead. And I want you to use sentence fragments to create a new lead for your piece. Right. I walked around and was able to see what a few of you were writing, and it really looked good. It's like sentence fragments can add a lot of interest to your writing. And you know what what's going to happen to you guys now? As you're reading your books, you know, your independent reading books, or even the novels that you're reading together in class, you are going to notice so many sentence fragments. You're going to go, oh no, there's another one, and there's another one. And then as you do that, start thinking about what effect it has on you as a reader. And then you can say, you know what? When I want to have that effect on my reader, I'm going to use a sentence fragment in my writing as well. So let's hear some. How you switched up your writing with a sentence fragment. You can use sentence fragments to slow a reader down. How many of you read Gary Paulson's books? Like, did you read Hatchet? Okay, well, Gary Paulson loves sentence fragments. And one of the best examples I can think of is when Hatchet is in that plane, and the plane is going down, and there's sentence fragment after sentence fragment, and in that instance, what did Gary Paulson want to control in his reader? What kind of speed? Did Gary Paulson want to slow the reader down as the plane was going? He wanted to speed it up. Yep. So, and you can do this especially by the use of white space. If you notice, when you want to slow a reader down, you usually put your fragments in a sentence, and you know they follow one another. When you want to speed the reader up, what Gary Paulson did is every one of those fragments had its own line. So it made you read fast to get down to the end of the page. So you can also do that. You can also slow your reader down. You can also speed your reader up. It all depends on how you use those fragments and how you use that white space. You guys did a great job creating this theory, so what I want you to do is this. I want you to turn to the craft section of your writer's notebook, or I think we have mini lesson section, right?
Yes.
Okay, mini lesson section. The next clean page, I want you to write on the top the title, which is sentence fragments. And then what I want you to do is I want you to write this whole theory out. As a writer, I would use sentence fragments too. And then now you have it, you will have your theory in the craft section. So when you are writing something months from now, and you want to revise your writing, you want to make it sound better, go to this mini lesson section of your notebook and look for ideas. And sentence fragments could be an idea you might want to use. Yes. The purpose of this academy is to give those students that are accelerated in reading and writing a chance to do a little bit more with their reading and writing. We take them into a reading and writing workshop, and we really work on developing their writing skills and also their presentation skills and their technology literacy skills.
It's more like one-on-one than in real school.
I feel like the writing comes easier to me than the reading. I don't have to ask as many questions.
We select the students from a list of the MEP scores, but what we do is we take a group of students that scored very well in reading and writing, and we then give that list to the schools and say to the teachers and the principals, from this group, who would you think would really benefit from attending this academy? But the schools are also always able to also select any other student that they feel would benefit from participating in a program just like this.
One thing that I applied was a learning technique that we learned, and it's called Bada Bing. And it's where you say where you're standing, what you see, and then what you think. And it's a really nice way to start your writing with like one really nice paragraph to just like kick off your writing.
Today we learned how to use fragments.
I thought like incomplete sentences is something that you don't want to use in your writing, but it can really make your writing really interesting.
And it helps us with our writing in different classes so we can get a little ahead.
I didn't know most of the writing tips that we learned, and it helped me become a better writer.
And we expose them to lots of different digital tools, and they select the one that they want to use, and then they learn how to use it if they don't already know. They learn from each other. So that part of the academy is really co-constructive learning. The students, we are learning from the students, they are learning from each other. And it's really amazing to see the transformation at the end and what they can actually do when given choice and a lot of freedom to learn.
I think they're teaching me new strategies for like online, because you're going to be learning about a lot of online stuff, like the new advancements in technology with school and stuff. You're going to be using it a lot more in the future, so it'll really help you.
I really like doing the digital tools. That was kind of fun.
The technology we used were the laptops and iPads. They were pretty cool.
I learned a lot of researching skills and then how to put together a presentation so it's appealing to the eye and informational.
I learned that there's a lot of different ways to present the same information. There's like, instead of just using PowerPoint all the time, there's like Prezi and PhotoPeach and a bunch of different tools you can use.
Quite often at school they have specific projects that they have to do in a specific way. We are more open-ended in their project. The whole goal of this project is that they find a topic that they're passionate about, something they're very interested in, and they research, and we find that when kids have choice in their topic and choice in their digital tool, that they are more likely to do the work. So we allow the kids to pick that topic, we allow the kids then to pick a digital tool, and between those two things they come up with just these beautiful presentations that take a piece of writing off the page and make it come to life with video and picture and text.
We want our students to have a lifelong skill. We want students to emerge as writers who have a lifelong writing skill. For instance, when they are graduated from college and graduated from high school, given anything to write, they will have an approach and they will be able to know how to approach writing in any kind of genre and any kind of situation. And they will also have a lot of techniques, writing techniques under their belt as well, and also to feel really good about themselves as writers.
I would probably say to come here because it's really fun.